What's up guys, Chad here, and a couple weeks back on my own Facebook, I posted that I was playing some N64 games, and I was asking some people's favorites, and I said, hey, maybe I was getting nostalgic, and I thought maybe I should make a list of top 20 N64 games. So I went ahead and did it, and instead of posting it on Facebook, I thought, why don't I just post it on YouTube and make a little video about it. I love the N64. At the time, it was just revolutionary. The 3D graphics were all things that I hadn't seen before. Had lots of classic games, and I've compiled my list of top 20, so here we go. All right, starting at number 20, I have Mario Golf. Actually, Mario Golf I thought was a lot of fun. My friends and I would stay up Sunday nights and play that game. And surprisingly, it was, it felt like golf, even though you're playing with, a talking gorilla with wearing a tie and all these wacky characters. The golfing was actually pretty darn good. Good mechanics, so we had a lot of fun. The only bad thing was my friends would call them the tractor beam trees, because you would hit a shot and somehow it would just get sucked into the trees. It was like the Death Star. It was like the Death Star. The trees were a Death Star. Number 19, Turac 2 Seeds of Evil. Now the first one was great, and if you remember the first one, it was like the first one was the first-person shooter that I ever played personally, and trying to control it with the head and the movement separate. I was playing like this. Like, it would literally take me 5 minutes to walk in a straight line across a log. I mean, that was this new. Just how do you even play this? It was crazy, but it actually worked out well. But the second one was a huge game. The graphics were great for the time. And it was really good. I'm going to also mention Shadow Man. Do you remember Shadow Man? That was another great game. Didn't make my list, but it just popped in my head. Number 18, Banjo-Tooie, which is the sequel to Banjo-Kazooie. It was a great game, carried over all the great stuff from the first one, all the fun moves between Banjo and Kazooie, the bird and the bear's backpack and all that. Flying was really cool. Banjo-Tooie, I didn't like quite as much because it almost got too big. It almost got a little too confusing. Some of the puzzles would go across the entire world, but a small complaint, some great memories of Banjo-Tooie. Number 17, I have Smash Brothers. Now this is the original Smash Brothers, and you might think number 17 only because on GameCube, Smash Brothers Melee is probably in the top 3 or 4. But the first one, I really didn't play that much. I didn't own it. My roommate bought it, I think. And we didn't play it that much. It was one of those games that we thought, oh, that's weird. All right, number 16, I have Donkey Kong 64. Now that is one of the biggest platforming games I've ever played. You had 5 characters, and remember the DK rap? DK, Donkey Kong. That was from Nintendo 64. The graphics were excellent. The music was great. Everything was great, but I think at the time after Banjo-Tooie and all that, people started really ripping on the idea of collecting. Platformers were like collectathons, and the term was kind of coined, collectathon, and got a little out of hand with Donkey Kong 64. We had 5 characters to go through the world, collect 100 bananas, bunch of coins, all kinds of stuff with all 5 characters. I love the game, but that's when platforming got a little too crazy, and a game coming up soon remedied that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 15, I have Excitebike 64. I have a feeling that game wouldn't make a lot of people's lists. Excitebike 64, though, I thought was a blast. I'm a sucker for arcade-style racing, so all these crazy, sliding turns and all that stuff. And one mechanic I really loved, and I think I heard this story once, at the top of the jumps, you could hit the Z trigger to get a boost off the jump. And from what I understand, I think it was Left Field who created this game. Geez, I didn't really do my research, I just made a list. But they had the game, they showed it to Nintendo, and Shigeru Miyamoto himself said, you need a boost at the top of these jumps. If you hit that trigger, boom, you just get a little something. I tell you, it almost made the game. It was a brilliant move, and I loved it. Number 14, another Mario sports game, Mario Tennis. That game was a blast. Now, obviously Mario games are not very, authentic. They're not simulation games. They're very arcade, silly. You have these funny characters, but damn, that game felt like tennis. You had the top spin, you had the backhand, all this stuff. It was simple enough, yet intricate enough and interesting that you really felt like it took some skill to win the game. And of course, you could play doubles with your friends and 2 on each side, and Waluigi was in there, and That's how I would play it, as far as I remember Waluigi. And it was a lot of fun. Mario Tennis. You know what? I never got the Mario Tennis on 3DS. I'm gonna have to check that out. Let me know what you guys think of that game. 13. Oh man, I don't even like soccer or football. But International Superstar Soccer 98 was just so addictive, fun. The graphics were awesome at the time. You know what? I had some great memories of that. Green Day's Nimrod CD came out, and so I'd sit in my room and listen to Nimrod and play that game all day. I was hooked. These were the days, the Nintendo 64 days. To me, that was like the golden age of gaming. It was all felt so new, even the sports game, the soccer game. Graphics were great. It all was really fresh. And International Superstar Soccer 98. I have a feeling there's some fans of that game out there. All right, number 12, Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is Rare, remedying what I mentioned earlier, the Collectathon. I don't believe you had to collect much of anything in Conker's Bad Fur Day, but it was a really fun adventure. And I think they originally intended this to be another of those games, Banjo Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and when people started saying, well, it's getting a little bit tiring, they changed it all up. They made it mature. There was blood and guts and heads exploding and bones, and the toilet humor was funny, literally toilet humor. There was a giant poop monster as a boss fight in this game, and at the time it was hilarious. Number 11, F-Zero X. Okay, this is the first F-Zero game that I played. I didn't play the game on Super Nintendo, probably because at the time I would just look at the box in the store and say, oh, this game looks neat, so I would rent something like Tom Sawyer instead of F-Zero with all these silly looking characters. I was like, I don't want that. That can't be any good. But it turns out it is freaking awesome. It's like the fastest racer you can imagine. Super addictive, you know, your eyes are like glued to that screen, and the later levels, if you don't have it memorized, you're not getting through it. So it was a lot of repetition, but it was kind of that, you know, old school sadistic, I'm gonna beat this finally kind of game, and probably smashed a controller or two across my forehead in the process, but it was so fun. All right, here we go in the top 10. Now we're getting somewhere. WWF No Mercy. Who remembers that game? Or the WCW game, Revenge. Before that, all these, what was it, Akai? Made these wrestling games, and they were the greatest wrestling games ever. The grappling, the moves, the jumping off the top ropes, all that stuff, and Mercy was like the culmination of all the best of everything. You could create characters and fight against your friends. There was all these modes like Royal Rumble. It was just insane. The customization was awesome. And No Mercy was probably some of the most fun I ever had playing with my friends back home in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. If you guys are watching, hey guys, how you doing? It's been a long time, and hope you enjoy these N64 memories. Number 9, Rogue Squadron, Star Wars. This game rocked. It was the first one in the Rogue Squadron series. You could fly the frickin' snowspeeder through the legs of the... You could do that in Shadows of the Empire. Remember that? I didn't like that game much, but this one was just based on the flying combat, flying through the AT-AT's legs on Hoth, taking the X-Wing across Tatooine and doing the Death Star run and all that stuff. I think I remember that was in this game. They had other games later. But Rogue Squadron, the thing I remember is this was really the first like 3D full-blown flying game that I ever played. And you could fly upside down, you could twist and turn and all the stuff. And here's me playing, sitting on my couch going, oh, wait a minute, and I couldn't help it. My head was going all over the place. It was spinning. It was new. It was new. That's all I can really say. All right, I'll keep looking at my iPad here. Sorry, guys. I got them all written down here. Lots of games. Number 8, another flying game. This was more on rails. Star Fox 64. Do a barrel roll, and all those classic sayings came from Star Fox 64. What can you say? I got the game, and I'm like, all right, Star Fox 64, and at the time, length of game was something they were really pushing. This game will take you 40 hours to finish. What? 40 hours? I have to buy that. And I bought Star Fox 64 and I finished it in an hour. And I thought, what the heck is this? And then I proceeded to play the next month non-stop, getting the medals, going to all the worlds, trying to get perfect scores, all that stuff. So it still lasted me At least 40 hours. Oh, and it was also probably the first split screen game, multiplayer game I ever played. Played with my friend Nick, and we were flying around chasing each other, shooting bombs at each other, and we thought, wow, this is amazing. Something new. Split screen multiplayer. It was brand new back then. Number 7, Diddy Kong Racing. Woo! You know what? I don't think I ever played multiplayer in Diddy Kong Racing because the adventure mode was just that good. It was a lot of fun. There was a hub world. You could drive to all the different doors and do the races, and once you beat the races, you can go back and do the silver coin challenges, finding the coins all around, and racing against different bosses, like the giant octopus. That giant octopus race, I hated that guy. He was a jerk, but it was just awesome. And you know what? The music was great. The colors were awesome. Back then, games were just real colorful, and you had this little cheery music and just lots of great memories. It reminds me of Christmas. Think of Christmas as a child. That's Diddy Kong Racing to me. Number 6, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now that's the second N64 Zelda game, and it was darker than Ocarina of Time. It was, a lot of people are mixed on it because it gave you like a time limit. You had 3 days in game, and you would kind of live those days over and over. You could go back to day 1, day 2, and you could look at your schedule and go, oh, these people are gonna be here at certain times of the day, and you could reunite them, like you could reunite a couple before the end of the world. The countdown was 3 days before the end of the world. And lots of, great dungeons. I'd say my one complaint about the game is there weren't as many dungeons, but lots of cool stuff to do, and the music was just excellent. And I remember just sitting in Clock Town, just looking up at the clock tower and the stars and everything, and it was magical, really. It was really cool. I loved it. All right, before I talk about number 5, I'm going to talk about the N64 for a second. And it came out in '96, and at the time I didn't have the internet. I wasn't following gaming news. I didn't know games were coming out. Now you're like, oh, this game's coming out 3 years from now. Let's look forward to it for the next 3 years, and then as soon as it comes out, you play it and you forget it. But at the time, back then, this was like, a game comes out and I'm like, whoa, what's this? And I walked into Toys R Us one day, and there I saw Mario running around in a fully 3D world, climbing to the top of this mountain, looking down across the entire level. And before that, there was either a top-down little screen or side-scrollers, and to just climb this mountain and stand on top and look across the entire level was just mind-blowing. And so Mario 64, one of the most classic games of all time, because it was just groundbreaking, really. And not before or since have I ever been so blown away by a video game. What you're seeing on the screen, I was like, this can't be real. Is this really a game? Oh my God. The controller had a stick. I'd never seen that before. I'm like, a stick? And it would actually, the harder you press it, the faster he goes. It was all new. It was really cool. Okay, number 4, you know what? I'm putting this over Mario 64, but Mario 64 could have easily taken the spot. But at number 4, I have Banjo Kazooie, because I thought it took what Mario 64 did and improved on it. It was really an amazing game at the time. Kind of the same thing as Mario 64, platformer. The camera was better, the graphics were better, the moves were all really cool. You had 2 characters that could do certain things, and once again, the music back then, you get these cheery little melodies that get stuck in your head, and I love it. I kind of miss that in video games these days. Not many games like that. All right, number 3, Perfect Dark. Another one by Rare. I didn't count them, but I bet you almost every game on this list is either by Rare or Nintendo themselves. They dominated the N64. They didn't have much third-party support, but back then they could carry the load. Perfect Dark. Everyone was waiting for like the sequel to GoldenEye, or Rare's follow-up to GoldenEye, and this was a shooter, and it was original, but they really captured the essence of GoldenEye, and they just went all out on split-screen multiplayer customization. The bots could all be customized, the weapons, everything. You could customize the heck out of it. I don't think even these days multiplayer games are as customizable as Perfect Dark was, and it was on the N64, which is just crazy to think of. And I love this game. I love the levels. I love the weapons were cool, except for the far sight was a little cheap. That one you could see through the walls and shoot people. Definitely one of my favorite games of all time, not just on the N64. Number 2 is GoldenEye itself. Now, this is another one where I saw it in the store and I'm like, that can't be real. That's awesome. PCs had shooters. I mean, there was Doom and Quake and that sort of thing. It was always the go get the key, open the door, blast some monsters, that kind of thing. But GoldenEye added some stealth gameplay in there. Objectives, yeah. Plant the bomb on this thing, you know. Peek through there with your little device and that sort of thing. Blow up this computer and get out of there. And it was just, it felt like James Bond. It was revolutionary for the time, that single-player gameplay, but mostly the multiplayer split screen. I really don't know for sure if anything had been done like that before on consoles. And my friends and I just played that forever. Anybody who lived back then, GoldenEye was the thing. And one funny story is, after a while we got so good at seeing out of the corner of our eye the other guy's screen, just by the colors and textures where they were, so they'd be trying to hide. So our solution was to take like a big cardboard piece and split the TV screen with it like that, and one guy would sit under it and one guy would sit over it, and they're like, all right, now we can't see each other's screen. We're in for some crazy gameplay now. But nowadays you don't have to worry about that. You're playing people online and they can't see your screen. All right, here we go. The N64, my #1 favorite game of all time, and probably just #1 of all time, period. You know what it's gonna be. Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. I mean, what can you say about it? People still call it probably the best game of all time. It was just pure magic. I mean, you start off in this little world and you go to the Deco Tree, right? It's kind of just a training dungeon. Well, just that training dungeon seemed bigger than almost any other game at that point. And just the pure size of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this dungeon's crazy. You've fallen way down below, and huge caverns, and these awesome abilities, and lighting fires, and opening doors, and killing enemies, and fighting this big, huge boss. The Z targeting, that you press the Z button, it automatically locks onto someone. That was new. That had never been done before, as far as I know, unless it was some obscure PC game that did it. But, you know, it was all just revolutionary. But even that little starting dungeon I thought was huge. Oh my god, this is bigger than any game. And then, of course, you go out into Hyrule Field, which was, you could ride a Epona across it for, you know, take you 20 minutes to ride across this thing. Probably not. But the whole world, all the dungeons were super clever. And I really got to mention the music. And this is the case with a lot of these N64 games. The music was just pure magic. The little melodies that would get in your head, all those great theme songs, they gave you a sense of adventure, yet there was somewhat melancholy. In the story, you start off as a kid, you flash forward to being like a young adult, and you can go back and forth. So there was kind of that sense of childhood wonder, yet growing up, you know? And it just really fit the time for me, and I don't know, it really stuck with me, because you're playing this silent character of Link, and it honestly feels like it's you know? These days, a lot of games will show you a character, it's like watching a movie, and it's really great, but I think what's special about the Zelda games is, even though it's Link, you kind of feel like it's your adventure, you know? You went to all these cool areas and figured out the puzzles, and heard all the great music, and met all these great people, and so yeah, Ocarina of Time, my favorite game of all time. That happens to be on the N64. All right, that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but thanks for sticking around for all my blabber about the N64. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like this video and want to see more of these little nighttime chat with Chad things, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know in the comments below any great Nintendo 64 gaming memories that you guys might have. I bet you I can really relate, and really love to hear your stories or just your top 5 favorite games, that sort of thing. Just leave it all in the comments below, and I'm going to check it out and reply to as many as I can. And make sure to subscribe to our channel to be notified of all our latest videos, and we will see you later.